To welcome you all to today's Meet Our Members webinar. So with me I have James Roebuck. So James is the National Sales Manager for Westwood Pipelines Limited, and he'll be speaking about their 3L SLA permanently monitored pipe, along with their new SLM DCS, an early warning system for the protection of water transportation pipelines. And joining Westwood Pipelines, we also have Andrew Ball and Mick Lavelle from J. Murphy and Sons. Andrew is past chair and current committee member of the Northern Branch, and he's also panel member of our Outfalls technical panel and is sector director of the natural resources business within Murphy's. Andrew has a wealth of experience covering pipelines, both water and gas, AGI works, compressor stations, and offshore pipeline construction. Mick also works within the Murphy's natural resource business as design lead. He is a chartered engineer who has spent 10 years working on gas industry projects, including pipelines, terminal works, and AGIs. Mick started his career as a site engineer before taking the experience he had gained into design. Mick now manages a team of designers in delivering a portfolio of projects, ranging from pipeline diversions, AGI rebuilds, to terminal and compressor station projects. They will be talking about the challenges faced in the design and construction of high pressure pipeline diversions and the ways these can be overcome to ensure safe and efficient delivery of these projects. So please feel free to ask these guys questions. There is a question and answers kind of section within the Zoom chat function. We'll be doing questions and answers after each presentation. So please do feel free to send your questions in. And without further ado, I'd like to hand over to James.
Thank you very much. So I was having technical difficulties there. So welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm James Roebuck, National Sales Manager for Westwood Pipelines. So I'm going to speak a little bit about Westwood Pipelines, a little bit about our sister company, Egeplast, and some of the products that we supply. But focusing on our 3L SLA Leak monitored system and the SLM DCS, which is a relatively new product for us, labelled as an early warning system for pipe damage. So I will try now and share my screen. Hopefully everybody can see that.
Yeah, looks good.
Thank you. So yeah, Westwood Pipelines, I started in 2003, relatively small family-run business, as was. Essentially started by fabricating pieces of pipe into different shapes and formats and sending them out to site to be connected. Very soon after Westwood started trading, we introduced an electrofusion range of products. It made sense that we were sending out fabricated bends, tees, stub flanges to site, that the customers needed to connect those as well. So that range was fairly quickly introduced. A couple of years later, Westwood were introduced to Egeplast and vice versa, and we received exclusive rights to the Egeplast range of products. In 2008, we secured our first framework, which is, for a small family-run business, is a big deal, and a huge achievement for everybody that was involved at the time. Before my time, I have to say, but nevertheless, a great achievement. In 2015, which is about the sort of time that I joined the business, we moved from a relatively small plot of land with a workshop and office space into which is about 3/4 of an acre, if memory serves. So not much storage and so on and so forth. But we moved in 2015 to the premises where we are now, and you'll see over on the map on the right hand side, we're quite centrally located in the UK. So this particular plot was about 12 acres. It's been sort of changed, chopped and changed a little bit over the last 6 years, but remains very much the same. In 2019, again, big news for us, really. Egeplast UK was founded, and an extrusion line was introduced into the Westwood Pipelines premises, which is obviously still operating today, which gave us a huge benefit in terms of transporting certain products over from Egeplast's HQ in Germany over to the UK. As we know, transporting pipes of any kind does involve quite a lot of fresh air, so it can be quite expensive. And then most recently, the two family businesses have joined. Egeplast have acquired shares in Westwood Pipelines, which is, great news for us, and exciting at the same time. So some may or may not be familiar with Egeplast, but Egeplast International were founded in 1908, not producing pipe at that particular time, but that did come around a little bit later on. The business is still 100% family owned by the Struman family. Ansgar Struman currently heads up the business, and are a general plastic pipe systems producer for applications such as the water industry, gas industry, general industry, irrigation, the geothermal energy market, telecoms and cable protection, but are also well known throughout Europe and the sort of 30 plus countries that they operate in, for customized products. So maybe that's something a little bit different to what we're all used to as standard pipe diameters, standard pipe wall thicknesses and pressure ratings and so on. But also a quite innovative, spend a lot of time and money in product development, research and development, and innovation being key to their success. So production is in a little place called Greven, which is sort of northern Germany, just outside of Munster, if anybody knows the area. And generally, certainly for the UK market, is polyethylene, which is a product that is produced and supplied via some of the extrusion lines over there. And generally dealing in high performance thermoplastics. So in terms of, just to give you an idea of some of the innovative products that Egeplast produce, Westwood Pipelines supply here in the UK, we've got our SLA barrier pipe system, which is suitable for all trenchless installations, which is quite a key selling feature for that particular product. And I have to say, in the early days, in our sort of framework, Wins was instrumental in that, and is still a key focus product for us today. So one of the products that I'm going to be talking about is the 3L SLA, which is a leak monitoring system, and you can see a couple of images of pipes on screen, or hopefully you can. At the moment, it's the top one. So this pipe is a barrier pipe, as is the SLA barrier pipe that we've just above. But it's a slightly different makeup, and used for slightly different purposes, albeit keeping its characteristics of preventing any contamination to people's drinking water, or if even wastewater the other way. So we've had a number of wastewater projects so far. The other product is the brand spanking new SLM DCS, which is a product in the bottom middle of your screen now. And you can see it looks slightly different. So both products have an aluminium layer, albeit in a different form, and hopefully a little bit later on. I've got a couple of videos to show people as well. That'll explain the two differences. Another product that people may or may not be aware of at this moment in time is Hexel 1, our high pressure polyethylene. So classed as an RTP pipe, a reinforced thermoplastic, which basically gives the standard pipe the ability to accept or deliver increased pressure ratings. So far, that particular product has been used by Cadent and some of the water utilities for high pressure gas. Typical pressure ratings in the UK, or certainly on the installations that have happened so far, have been 19 bar in gas. So hopefully something for people to think about. Obviously a slightly different solution to historically what's been used. And then another product is our Egeliner, which is essentially a folded pipe or a close fit rehabilitation product. So that's just hopefully giving you some idea of some of the more innovative products that relate to the UK market. I'll move on. So we've got the 3L SLA Leak monitoring system. I'll just share this video now, so hopefully everybody can see that okay and can hear it as well.
More and more often, people are exposed to unexpected hazards. Protecting ourselves from these represents a major challenge. Cutting-edge technologies nowadays,
Apologies, everyone.
enable us to design early warning systems which ensure maximum protection even before any hazard arises, thus minimizing any potential damage that might ensue. Egeplast develops pipe systems which preventively detect damages and trigger an alarm, followed by initiating automatic safety measures. The Egeplast 3L leak control comes with an electrically conductive intermediate layer made of aluminium, which prevents any diffusion of harmful substances. It also enables permanent monitoring of the entire pipe system, including all associated fittings and manholes. Even in the event of minor damages not involving any media leakage, an alarm will be triggered while at the same time signaling the sector affected. The alarm is transmitted to a control center or to a smartphone. The pipe system can be monitored via any kind of internet access. This way it enables location-independent remote maintenance. The connected pumps will be switched off automatically and the valves closed, thus reliably preventing disasters. State-of-the-art detection technology enables precise tracking of the damaged area. In transporting substances which might endanger water quality, leakages might occur and produce high costs. Legislation rightly places high demands on the disposal of this type of media. In the event of any leakage, our 3L leak control will trigger an alarm immediately. This all-in-one system solution, both for new installation and rehabilitation projects, is absolutely reliable. False alarms are impossible. Coils and drums allow for extended installation lengths. This results in significant cost savings. Maximum safety, permanent control, and optimized total costs. Please take advantage of our customized advice. Our experts will be happy to support you in planning your construction project. Egeplast, pipe systems safeguarding future generations.
So thanks everyone. Hopefully that was understandable, but I'll just give a brief description of the product as well. So the 3L SLA provides 100% leakage monitoring for soil and water protection. So in essence, if anything comes into contact with the aluminium layer, which is conductive, the product spikes outside of its parameters and then alerts either a computer or a mobile phone or some other method to a central point where that can be subsequently investigated and repaired if need be. So that could be works happening in the future, you know, landslips, tree roots, that kind of thing. But it's a preemptive measure that would also enable, you know, the accurate location of where that potential damage is. So rather than sort of digging up a whole street, let's say, to repair the pipe, you can actually find it within a meter of where the damage has occurred. So obviously cost savings and time savings involved there. But essentially a monitoring unit is connected and emits an alarm when anything touches it. Messages are sent directly to and automatically can, if installed at the same time, turn off valves, pumps, and that kind of thing to isolate that particular area. Okay, we'll move on. So this is another video, and I'd say the Germans are much better at producing these than we are in the UK for the time being, which is our SLM DCS. So we've had a similar product out for a number of years, some of which are sort of standard on our high pressure pipe, which was the Hexal one that I spoke about earlier, which essentially is a pipe with a ribbon, or two ribbons in this case, spirally wound over the pipe. And traditionally this method has been used for sort of post installation integrity checks. So the pipe has a protective outer layer for trenchless applications like slip lining, pipe bursting, directional drilling, and so on and so forth. And a simple test, you know, could be something like a multimeter. If the two ends are connected at either end, you can quite quickly check the integrity of that particular product, or that particular pipeline, you know, giving instant notification if there has been any damage at all. So without further ado, I'll press play, and hopefully again everybody can hear and see this video as well.
Those who carry responsibility rely on the best material available, plan with the future in mind, and leave nothing to chance. Anyone who carries responsibility will accept no compromises if it comes to safety. Egeplast is a developer of pipe systems which provide planners in charge with uncompromising safety. The Egeplast SLM DCT is a protective layer pipe providing quality monitoring and localization options. Pipe rehabilitation and trenchless installation subject the pipe to a significant risk of getting damaged by shards and sharp-edged bits of stone. Both the planner and the operator will not be aware of any damage that might have occurred, thus having the possibility to verify the intactness of the pipe by electrical continuity testing with the help of the integrated conductor strips means maximum safety for the full service life of the pipe system. If the electrical current is flowing, the pipe is intact. During the manufacturing process, two independent conductor strips are wrapped around the PE100 RC pressure pipe, following assessment of its compliance with the applicable standards and regulations and quality inspection. Only then, the additional protective layer made of PE Plus is extruded onto the pipe surface. This protective cover reliably protects the inner pipe against damage. Although trenchless installation methods offer tremendous ecological and economic advantages, potential damage to the new pipeline unfortunately can never be ruled out completely. Every operator, however, strives to operate a secure, tested pipe system in its network. Our SLM DCT, like all of our pipe systems, is thoroughly inspected prior to leaving our factory. Moreover, it provides the option to verify the integrity of the pipes, even following trenchless installation, based on a simple continuity check. Furthermore, the integrated conductor strips make it possible to locate the pipe at any time. Maximum safety, complete control, and optimized total costs. seek our individual professional advice. Our experts will be happy to support you in planning your construction project. Egeplast, pipe systems safeguarding future generations.
So thanks everyone for watching those videos. I'll give a brief description again, a little bit like I did on the 3L SLA. So the video in actual fact was the old DCT product, however works in exactly the same way as the continuity check, albeit this is a permanent continuity check. So it enables early detection of damage on a pipeline even before a leak occurs through its detection checking system. Monitoring can either be performed permanently or intermittently. If damage occurs, a monitoring unit triggers an alarm, much in the same way as our SLA, 3L SLA. So intermittent monitoring allows some monitoring at particular intervals, or if there are grounds for suspicion, like future works in the same area, etc. And a simple check, once installed, guarantees integrity of the pipe. You may have sort of caught the PE plus section in the video. That essentially is the oriented outer layer of the product, which guarantees the pipe for trenchless installations, as I mentioned earlier. And that's me. So thank you very much. And I will try and pass you back to Kate. Thank
you very much, James, for that. Really,
no problem.
Really insightful and great with the technology in the video, so very slick. do use the chat function, people, to ask any questions. We haven't got any in at the moment, so so James is getting off lightly and we can't allow that, so so please do have a bit of a think, and please pop them in the chat box. So what we'll do now is we'll pass on over now to Andrew Ball and Mick Lavelle to talk us through Murphy's, and we'll perhaps then pick up some more questions a bit later on after their section. So over to you guys. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're okay. Just let me just a minute. Just wait to load up the presentation. Share. Oh, where it's gone. It's disappeared off my screen, of course. Let's see. Is that now sharing?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We're very proud of our long relationship and association with the Pipeline Industry Guild. I'm delighted to present today an insight into the challenges in the design and constructing of high pressure pipeline diversions. Before I hand over to Mick Lavelle, I just want to give you a quick insight into J. Murphy's and Sons at 70. We operate mainly in 3 countries, the UK, Ireland and Canada, and we support 5 main sectors: transportation, power, water, construction and property, and natural resources. And each of these sectors are supported with 15 key in-house specialist capabilities. I would now like to hand over to Mick Lavelle, who will take you through our main presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this evening's webinar. And thanks to James for a very informative presentation there. Seems a great product to have. Today, I'm going to be looking at the challenges that we face on a daily basis when designing and building high pressure pipelines. Murphy has a long history of building pipelines in the UK since the early 1970s, and we've seen some major digital advantages but construction and methods have mainly stayed the same over the years. As you see from a picture on the right-hand side, it's something you'll see on the spreads today nearly. You'll see the boom drivers, you'll see the timber skids. What you will see better is better PPE. On a day like today, you'd probably see lads with their tops off back in the 70s. Now we've made major shifts and excellent improvement in our safety standards. New technologies have meant we can build in a safer and more efficient manner. And Murphy has adapted to these new technologies and remains a market leader in this industry today. Here at Murphy, we're getting involved in projects at the very beginning of the lifestyle of a project to ensure buildability is considered from day one. From looking at the diagram on the screen, it's vital construction methods are considered as early as feasibility stage to ensure adequate working areas are considered, especially during the DCO phase of a project. There's many times we've come across projects where working areas, especially around trenchless crossings, haven't been considered, and we have to redline and go back for more available land take. Murphy's preference on all this is to take on the role of the principal designer throughout the life cycle of a project. We think the principal designer role is well aligned to the role of a contractor in that it allows for construction risks to be eliminated as early as possible. Looking at the role of the principal designer under the CDM regs is to plan, manage, monitor and coordinate health and safety in the pre-construction phase of a project. To work with any other designers on the project to eliminate foreseeable health and safety risks to anyone affected by the work, where it's not possible to take steps to reduce and control these risks. Here at Murphy, we've adapted how we work to align ourselves with the new regulations that came out in 2015 to ensure that we've delivered these roles of principal designer and principal contractor on a day-to-day basis. One of the main tools we use to align ourselves with the role of the principal designer is digital rehearsals. This is now kind of business as usual for Murphy's in the design phase. It enables us to digitally rehearse the construction sequence of a project in the virtual world before we ever get on site. The motto you'll hear around our business a lot is build twice in the virtual world and construct once on site. Here is an example of one of the diversions that we did last year where land access was an issue, but we were able to fly a drone over the working easement and create the model of the construction sequence with minor disruptions on site. This was designed by our in-house capability run out of our head office down in Kentish Town, and our design team has strong links with our operational teams to ensure buildability is brought to the fore during the design stages. One of the key benefits and positive impacts is on the process safety, and in particular when carrying out study on hazards in construction. By having the construction sequence modeled in the 3D world, it's much easier to explain to key stakeholders how the job is going to be built and the issues that lie ahead of us. It allows for excellent engagement throughout these studies. At Murphy, we're now moving into the 4D world where we can integrate our programs into the model to be able to take a snapshot in time to see how far along the project will be at any point in the program. This has worked very well for us when trialed on some of our AGI rebuilds, which we have done this year, and we're looking forward to developing this further as we go forward. When at Murphy we're working on a build-only job, there may be some high-risk construction activities that we may decide to digitally rehearse that sole activity to see if there's any potential ways to reduce risks or maybe eliminate it completely. Another job that we've done recently is the one shown on a diversion where we had a complex lift of a swan neck fabrication down into the tunnel shafts. The swan neck consisted of nearly 32 meters of 48-inch pipe weighing a total of 45 ton. Doing the lift virtually, we were able to work out the exact center of gravity of the fabrication and identify where the lifting lugs needed to be welded on. By fully understanding in the virtual world, it enabled Murphy to fabricate the swan neck above ground with the confidence that it could be lifted in one piece and therefore eliminating the risk of welding vertical pipes in a confined space within the shafts. Another issue we see in the design phase is around choosing the correct methodologies for trenchless crossings. Once the ground investigation works have been done on site, our geotechnical team at Murphy's will start to interpret the information received. There's obviously a number of ways in which a trenchless crossing can be crossed, and during the design phase, Murphy will interpret all this data and produce an optioneering report to assess what is the most efficient way to undertake the work, taking into account ground conditions, working area available, cost and program implications. And by having this early contractor involvement, allows the contractor to have full confidence in the design when getting to site to build the job. It will also give our clients more confidence that we can meet all key dates as per the programme. Looking at integrating any trenches designs with the permanent works designs. When we are not responsible for the full permanent works design of the pipeline, our clients will normally include the trenchless crossing in the scope of the contractor. This is because the trenchless solution is seen as a temporary work solution, as it is just a method of getting the permanent pipeline from one side to the other. When this is the case, Murphy will work closely with the permanent works designer to ensure that the two designs align and all lines and levels are correct, including entry points and exit points for HDDs or setting out coordinates of launch and reception shafts. The drawing shown is a HDD design which we did in-house with our Murphy engineering in-house capability, which ran underneath a major road in the UK, which was owned and operated by Highways England. And again, by having this early contractor involvement, it minimised the number of design changes the client would have to deal with and drives efficiencies with cost and time on a project. So to summarise in the design phase, a number of advantages that we see of design and build contracts or early contractor involvement contracts is a reduced number of design changes, construction risks eliminated at the earliest possible stage in design, which fully aligns ourselves with the CDM regulations. Construction methodologies are embedded into the design as early as possible, and cost and program certainty for our clients. So looking at a couple of the build challenges that we face, we've just looked at the design processes and how we deal with that. So when we look at some of the issues we face in build, a few of them are around weld procedures. When we receive the material data sheets, we will look at the makeup of the pipe and look at what weld procedures we have in our library. And given our specialist welding services, we have an array of weld procedures that are at our beck and call whenever we need it, which is pre-approved procedures on a number of our clients' diversions. Looking at third-party asset owners and their approval processes, Murphy have a long history of engaging with asset owners to gain approvals to cross their asset, including Network Rail and Highways England. Working in and around live gas mains when fully operational. This work could be classed as bread and butter for Murphy's, as we have done it for many years, and our procedures and processes are fully aligned with our client specifications for working and excavating around their asset. Hydro testing is a challenge which Murphy have adopted and moved within the times. Murphy have its own pipeline testing service, which is key to our success. They are known as PTS and have state-of-the-art facilities in our Leeds fabrication shop. And it's worth noting, when COVID and lockdown hit last year, PTS were able to adapt and change with the times, and we were able to ensure our clients were able to witness all testing remotely. And it's just, as a best practice we will be taking forward into the future to reduce travel required on our projects. Extensive temporary works requirements, which I'll go into in more detail now. So at Murphy, we've got our own temporary works design department who work closely with our site teams to ensure all temporary works designs are being developed in a timely manner and not to delay any site progress. One of our strategic drivers at Murphy is better engineered, so our temporary works capability is something we pride ourselves on. On a diversion, there are lots of temporary works to be considered, including haul roads, site establishments, pipe dumps, temporary fencing, service crossings, trench batter angles, pipe support arrangements, crane pads, Bailey bridges, just to name a few. Any design works done by external companies, such as a trench box solution, will all have to be reviewed and signed off by our temporary works department to ensure suitability and that the correct parameters have been used in design. A temporary works register is then kept on site by our temporary works coordinator, which details out the inspection frequency required for each item, which then is inspected at the correct frequency by our temporary works supervisors. One of the big challenges on diversions is around deep excavations on the pipeline route, especially if diverting under a future road or rail crossing. Another one of Murphy's strategic drivers is passionate about direct, and it's around how we employ our workforce directly and own our own plant and equipment. Having this direct employed workforce and capability lends itself to undertaking deep excavations when the ground conditions are correct. This means we are not relying on specialist subcontractors, and it de-risks our project for our client. The photo in the diversion shown was one done under a future HS2 crossing. The excavation is 11 meters deep with a slip trench of 1 meter further down for the pipeline insertion. We were able to achieve batter angles of 60 degrees on this diversion, which lended itself to a successful delivery model. So to summarize on everything that I've kind of touched on there, I've highlighted the safety benefits, design and build contracts and early contractor involvement. And over the last 14 months at Murphy, we've delivered 10 number high pressure diversions, and there's been no lost time injuries on these diversions. This equates to 329,876 man hours without an LTI, which is something we are very proud of here, and our safety stats are backing that up. Sustainability. Murphy has always been driven by our clients to bring sustainability to the fore and to find ways to innovate to help with driving forward to net zero targets. An example of this recently is when we trialed the use of cement-free concrete on 2 of our diversions last year. Cement-free is an ultra-low carbon alternative to standard concrete, where ordinary Portland cement is replaced with novel alkali activated cementitious material. As it does not contain any OPC, it can save up to about 88% of CO2 emissions over standard concrete on a project. We trialed this in the non-structural piles on a secant pile arrangement on 2 of our diversions that we did last year. There was a 65 to 82% reduction in CO2 emissions over standard concrete, which is the equivalent of taking 20 cars off the road for 1 year. There was a 40% reduction in water used to produce the concrete for the piles. This aligns with Murphy's plans to reduce CO2 emissions by 50% by 2025 and use 100% renewable energy by 2026. So I've touched a lot there on the present challenge that we face. What does the future look like? A lot of you will recognize the picture on this slide. It's the new hydrogen network for HyNet in the Northwest, which we're starting to look at with a number of key stakeholders. The future is going to be about hydrogen. There's going to be a number of challenges around the percentage of hydrogen that we're going to be able to transport around the existing pipeline network in the UK. But we know we're going to have to build new infrastructure around the production, the storage, and transport, and how we're going to best facilitate the UK to move forward with hydrogen. We're still going to face the same challenges when constructing new hydrogen pipelines. And I hope we can develop and drive forward innovations to ensure safety at the forefront of our delivery models. That is it. I'll hand back to you, Kate.
Great stuff. Thank you very much for that, Mick, and well done again on the SEM3 award, and also the digital rehearsal being business as usual. So good stuff there. So if I can ask James to come back on video as well. So people have started posting some questions, which is great. So keep them coming. So in the meantime, we'll go back to James, and if we can have a look at the first question we've had in. So does the Egeplast range have DWI Reg 31.4 approvals?
All our products that come into contact with drinking water do, yes. Some of the more innovative, sorry, Kate. Some of the more innovative products that perhaps haven't been used for those types of applications don't, but can easily be achieved.
Thank you for that, James. So we'll keep on with yourself. So what jointing systems do you use with your barrier pipe systems?
I was about to respond to Norman on the chat with wizardry, but no, in all seriousness, in the smaller diameters, the 25, 32 and 63 mil, we have a range of compression fittings for those particular diameters. Anything larger would be the traditional methods of electrofusion or butt fusion. We have some tips, tricks and techniques for trenchless installation. Obviously on a barrier pipe system, the barrier layer has to be reinstated after it's been removed for welding. So yeah, if anybody has any applications and want a bit more information, I could go through that in greater detail if need be.
Thank you. And last one for yourself, James. What is the interest like from the water authorities for the new products?
Well, the SLM DCS was launched for us here in the UK last week. So in terms of the awareness, that's at its infancy. In terms of the older version of that product, the DCT, which is the integrity check, there is interest, and like I say, we've had a couple of projects where that's been utilised so far. In terms of the leak monitoring system, the 3L SLA, the response from the utilities has been, yes, that's fantastic, but I suppose a little bit it kind of comes down to who's going to dip the toe in the water first, pardon the pun, but yeah, we see its natural progression, as it is a typical barrier pipe system anyway, is just an evolution of that. And I'm sure more and more people, whether it be utility members or contractors, are seeing an increase in barrier pipe usage, especially on sort of mixed use developments. Nobody can guarantee what the future holds, so it's a bit of a belt and braces type product for future proofing that particular pipeline.
Great stuff. So watch this space then. Right then, so we'll let James have a little bit of a breather, and over to Mick now. So, hi Mick, I've worked on several Murphy schemes in the past for GPS. What early engagement is made with the pipe manufacturer to maximise their design input on material choice and methodology?
So just recently we've started, as part of our continually improve strategic driver, we have started early procurement involvement. So we now have our own specialist procurement department. So once the early MTOs come out in the design, we're getting out to the market and talking to the specialist suppliers to see if there's any innovations that we can build into our designs and get their involvement as early as possible. We found on a couple of projects that we may have left it too late, but it's something that we're building into our programs to ensure we're getting out to the supply chain to ensure that we can bring any technologies that we don't know about into our designs and bring them forward to our clients.
Great stuff. So next question. There was a brief mention of 4D simulations for pipeline diversions. Can you provide a few more details? So for instance, what is included in the 4D rehearsal? What benefits does it provide to the construction commercial team at design stage? And what benefits does it provide to the client throughout the process?
Fully loaded question.
Yeah, sorry. We paused on some of that, but I thought let's get it all out to you.
So 4D simulations is basically we can bring our P6 program into a program called Synchro, and it will fully align the 3D model and kind of fully play from start to finish how the process is going to work. So on a couple of our AGIs where we didn't have a full outage available to us, we were able to phase the works in the 4D world to see what clashes there may be between existing and new pipe work. And you were able to take a snapshot at any point in the time to see what will be done and won't be done on that site. So it was very beneficial that we were able to spot a number of clashes that we had to design around and go through the interdisciplinary checks to ensure that we were able to fully understand the build of that sequence and again design out any risks that there might have been for this construction guys on site. In terms of the benefits, I think it's invaluable to the construction team. It's something we really need to get our clients on board with. It's not something that is cheap, and there's quite a lot of work that goes into it, so we need to make it become business as usual for all our clients, and something we are pushing at the minute. I think the construction team will reap the benefits from it commercially. Again, there's probably the commercial benefits are going to be seen in the risk that's eliminated and the efficient designs that we produce. Depends what kind of a contract we're on our clients of how them benefits will relate commercially, whether it's option A, option E, or option C. So there's many different ways in that, but I think the real benefit is around designing out risks and getting the operational guys built into these models early doors and being able to fully rehearse these models. It gives the client full confidence that we will deliver on time and to the key dates. I think what we've seen over the number of years, if you're able to give your client confidence that you can build a job, they're not too worried about how you do it, but once you're able to get it done and get gas back on by a certain date, if you can give them that confidence, you are a shoe-in for most jobs.
Great stuff. Thank you for that, Mick. And last on the chat box here, so we've got Mick, you mentioned drone surveying and digital rehearsal modelling. Is there a move to make this methodology an industry standard?
It is business as usual for Murphy's. National Grid have made it industry standard now on gas pipelines with their new RE20 spec. I believe Cadent Gas will be moving towards it as well from the rumours we are hearing. So from a regulated client business in the gas industry, it is going to be industry standard. And I hope more of them move towards it. I think, as I mentioned before, the benefits that we can get from it and the safety standard that we are getting from it and the results we are seeing is invaluable. And our clients are starting to notice that. So we're trying to thrive on the next phase of that as well. Something we've been doing for a number of years, the drone and digital rehearsal, and I think 4D is now the next step.
Fantastic. Okay, well, that takes us to the end of the questions. Has anyone else got any more questions? Give a few minutes just to...
Going once, going twice.
I was going to say, yeah, because James has, I felt you've been a little bit left out there.
Oh, it's fine.
No, but well, it doesn't look like we've got any more coming through. So thank you to obviously our presenters today, to Mick, Andy and to James. And thank you to everybody that's joined us today and for your questions on the chat function. So tomorrow we've got the last in our Meet the Members webinar session. So we've got Cadent and Joseph Gallagher's. So again, as you've probably done for this session, please do visit our webpage, www.pipeguild.com, and go to the events section to book onto that. And just a little word of warning, closing date for our Sir John Parker competition, the PDN competition. Please make your colleagues aware that that's the 2nd of April, the deadline for that. So that's always a fantastic opportunity for the PDN team to get their great sort of synopsises in and present. So I always love that one. And I'm obviously biased because it's the Midlands branch. So so do check that out. So as I've said, thank you very much to our presenters. Thank you to you all for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of this fabulous weather wherever you may be. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.